I was sort of forced to play the bass. But then in 1980, I was 15 years old. I saw Weather Report with Jaco live in Rome. It was I guess the last tour they did, Jaco did with them. So he did all the solo stuff, the slang with the. And I thought, well, maybe being a bass player is not so bad. It can be cool.
Hi, and welcome to ForBassPlayersOnly.com. I'm John Liepman, and I help people, mostly people over 50 or 60 who want to learn bass, but haven't gotten very far with it yet, or at least not far enough. I have a great interview this week with Lorenzo Feliciati from Italy, and outstanding interview. We're going to get to that in just a second. But first, if you've ever wanted to learn bass, you should know that right now there are thousands of people inside the For Bass Players Only community, men and women in their 50s, 60s, 70s, even in their 80s. And you know what they're doing? They're learning bass. They're having the time of their life playing music that they love. You need to come join them and experience that incredible transformation for yourself because, as I always say, you're never too old to groove. So let's play bass. Lorenzo Feliciati is a world-renowned electric bassist, producer, arranger, and recording artist, one of Italy's greatest studio and live professional musicians, and he's collaborated with a list of notable musicians, including everyone from Bob Mintzer, Pat Mastelotto, Chad Wackerman, Marco Miniman, and an unpronounceable orchestra that I'll try to say, Orchestra Operaia di Massimo Nunzi. There, I did it. He's not sure if this is his eighth or ninth solo album that was just released in June of 2025. It's called Groove First, and he loves drummers. It's got a different, globally acclaimed drummer on each track. Great interview. You're going to enjoy it. Here's my interview with Lorenzo. I'm going to say Feliciati one more time because it's fun to say. Here we go. Enjoy. Hello, Lorenzo, and welcome. It's good to see you.
Hello, John. Thanks for having me.
I've been looking forward to this. We met at one of the London bass guitar shows
Yes,
way back.
2017, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm sorry it took so long to get you on for an interview.
Let's say that the good thing is that we both are here.
That's
So it's,
right. That is a good thing.
yeah, the London-based guitar show no more, but we are still here. So
Right. Well, I was
unfortunately,
I was there four times. That was cool. Boy, who was there? Robert Trujillo was there one year. Stu Ham was there once or twice. Susie
I
Quattro, I remember.
yes, yeah, John Taylor from Duran Duran, Jeff Berlin. I was there with Colin Edwin. We had a bass duo with Colin Edwin from Porcupine Tree. It's a prog band from the UK.
Right.
So I played there a couple of times, but I was also there as a yeah, visiting the booth of my the companies that are endorsing me. So it was Court Mark Bass at the time. Now I changed it. I'm with the Trickfish, which is an American good
Yes,
brand, very good brand.
I know Trick.
And so, yeah, good to be together with you again.
Thank you. You too. I want to talk about the new record, Groove, first, but let's lead up to that. I think the audience would be very interested in hearing your story,
Okay.
starting from the beginning. How would you describe your first exposure to music? Did you grow up in a musical household? Did you have parents
Okay.
you to concerts, brothers and sisters playing records?
Yeah. I guess that it's a sort of common story. My father was a jazz enthusiast, so he didn't play an instrument, but he was jazz music was always around at our house, our home. So he was playing a lot of vinyls at the time, so no CDs,
Right,
and
right.
and so I think that also the fact that radio stations were big at the time, so still no videos, MTV or stuff like that. So because I'm 60, so you can do the counting.
Yeah.
And So I was listening a lot of different stuff on the radio, from rock to pop to also jazz music, and then my brother started to play together with a friend of ours. This friend has had the drums, a drum kit. My brother was is still playing guitar and singing as a yeah, amateur. So the bass was missing. So, so it's an old story, but so I started to play the two bottom strings of an acoustic guitar. Then our father bought us as a gift for the final examination at school, something like that. Bass guitar to me, and electric guitar for my brother. And I thought, okay, maybe the bass, but I was sort of forced to play the bass. But then in 1980, I was 15 years old. I saw Weather Report with Jaco live in Rome. It was I guess the last tour they did, Jaco did with them. So he did all the solo stuff, the slang with the. And I thought, well, maybe being a bass player is not so bad. It can be cool to be the
Yeah.
bass player on stage. So, of course, that introduced me also to fusion, electric jazz sort. So I started to listen Johnny Mitchell for Jaco, because of Jaco. Then I started to listen to Steps Ahead, stuff like that. My brother was into Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, stuff like that. So I guess that rock has been a part of my music scenery for since I was a kid. So
Steps
rock
Ahead.
then.
That was Eddie Gomez at the time, wasn't it?
Excuse me again.
Steps Ahead. Wasn't Eddie
Yeah,
Gomez in that band?
what Eddie Gomez, yeah, and then they switched to electric for with the great album Magnetic with Victor Bailey. That
Ah,
was coming from the weather report, then
ah,
weather update, of course. And then I started to play professionally in when I was around I think 17 or 18. I was doing architecture at university. Then I quit when I was more than a halfway through the through the because music,
you know, I get it.
and but it was a very good moment to start because many gigs, many clubs in Rome. So I was able to. I don't know if that's the best way to get into music, but I was uh, I was studying the repertoires, the songs that I was playing live. So I didn't have a academic sort of
Sure.
story. But then I started to practice and study harmony and stuff like that by myself. Now I'm a teacher, so at in a St. Louis Music College in Rome, which is like a conservatoire. But
What kind of music were you playing in those gigs?
it was mostly. Actually, the first professional gig was with the Latin Jazz Orchestra. Weird stuff, at least for me, because all the kicks are
Oh yeah,
never where you think they would be.
I know. I lived in Miami for 6 years. I know
So
exactly what you're talking about.
great music, fun on stage with the all the percussion players. But then it was soul, rhythm and blues, also some light jazz, let's say. But it was a lot of new songs every night. So it was uh, swim or sink. So I had to learn how to play also different styles of music. I think that that was a very good way to start a professional career because I started to be hired by very different
Mhm.
artists and bands, and then I started to do uh, like singer songwriters, pop singer songwriters gigs that they took me around Italy for tours. Then I recorded almost 170 albums as a session player, in
Wow.
Italy.
That's a
Most
lot.
of them are good albums, some not, but so they paid well. And so I did a lot of tours, a lot of albums and DVDs, stuff like that. Then I guess it's like like in like in the States and on other European countries, the pop scene, the gigs started to less and less money around. So I started to do my stuff. I started with my first solo album because I had a computer with Pro Tools, so I started to make demos and sketches, and then I arrived at solo album number 8 or 9. I don't remember. And then of course I started to do a lot of projects with uh, musician artists from the United States, like Pat Mastelotto, the King Crimson drummer, and
Yeah.
Mr. Drummer, and also um, great guitar player from the Netherlands, Richard Alebeck. And I did a lot of different stuff. I'm always ready to, take my trolley, my bass, and fly. That's been my main attitude since I was maybe 18, 20. So you must travel. You can stop.
Yeah, I loved it when I did it. But I want to go back a little bit. Well, first of all, you said you were forced to play the bass. I think forced might be a little too strong of a word.
I agree. I agree.
Okay. But you mentioned Victor Bailey, you mentioned Jocko. Who were some of your other bass player influences once you started playing the instrument?
Okay. Of course, Jaco was also not just for the music and for the bass playing, but it was such an icon, So you can imagine it for a kid, it was like wow.
Yeah.
But I always and still love John Paul Jones from the Led Zeppelin. His playing is beautiful, and Gary Willis from Tribal Tech,
Yeah.
and Anthony Jackson for the stuff he was doing with Michael Camilo, but also with Chaka Khan and with the whatever. And uh, what's it's Dave Carpenter. I think he died,
He
but it
did.
was yeah from the Buddy Rich big band to Alan Osworth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And but I'm very lucky. I can call him a friend now, but I've been a Jimmy Haslip fan since the first Yellow Jackets album. So I like not the flashy players, but with a very solid attitude and a strong sense of the song, of the music, not
You
just
mentioned a lot of fretless players. Do you play a lot of fretless? You mentioned Jimmy Haslett,
But,
you mentioned Jocko,
no,
and
let's say that the
Gary
seventy
Willis.
percent is 70% is fretted and 30% is fretless. Some
Okay.
of the I did 3 or 4 years ago. I did an album with the project. I composed most of the music, and I played everything on my Gary Willis, the Ibanez signature bass, which is a wonderful bass.
Yeah.
The tone is wonderful. So I play 90% of the songs with fretless. It's a beautiful instrument, of course, but it's not easy to stay away from the Jaco, you know. Because I love him so much, I love them. So it's sometimes I discover myself sort of um, being a Jaco clone without being a very good Jaco clone, because you can't Jaco is Jaco, and that's it.
Right.
So but I like fretless. I played a lot of fretless with the project in duo with Colin Edwin from Porcupine Tree. It's called Twinscapes. We did 3 albums, and I played a lot of fretless. I love the fretless, but most of the time I'm their request fretted, 5 strings. 5 strings fretted is the main instrument. The bass part that they send me and ask me to record maybe at home for gigs. It's 5 strings fretted.
Okay. You can't assume anymore that when someone says five string, that means the low B, but most of the time it is. Some people actually prefer a high C instead of
Yeah.
low B. So which
At that point I switched to 6 strings, so I have both. But
okay.
for me it's always the low B. I like to go lower, not
Yeah,
you
I
know.
like that better too. And I was
Yeah,
going to ask you about six string because you mentioned Anthony Jackson.
Yeah, I played a little bit of six strings, but uh, I think I don't have a six strings now. I have many basses, but not a six strings because the fact that I was always requested for a five strings. All my signature basses, my collaborations with the Luthers, stuff like that. It's they're always only five strings with a low B,
Yeah,
which is I think it fits better my approach and also the music I'm requested to play.
so tell me about the record, Groove First. Uh,
Yeah.
I mentioned, I don't know if it was before or after we already started recording, but I've been listening to it and enjoying it very much. I guess my first question is, what's up with all the drummers? Why do you have so many drummers? It's like a
Okay.
different one on every song, right?
Yeah. Pat Mastelotto is the only one on two songs. But
Okay.
okay, first of all, when I stopped to study at the university and I decided to become a professional musician, of course, the gigs didn't arrive immediately. So I had to find a job, and it was in a drum shop. So, so uh, I always loved the drums, not just drummers, but drums. The instrument was always appealed to me. But I have a lot. I play with a lot of different drummers always. I'm lucky enough to be um, you know a lot of drummers love to play with me, so that's great for me. So I made a lot of friends in the between the drummers. And my way of composing, especially, I always compose when I have an idea having Pro Tools at home. I just made a demo or a sketch, something like that. But to compose music just with a click track, with a metronome, it doesn't, I'm not creative enough with that. So I always ask as soon as I have an idea, also just the start of a song, a cell of a song, I just ask, I wrote to Gergo Borlai or whatever, Chad Walkerman, whatever, and ask, do you have an idea of a groove on this? They send me something, sometimes also with the cellular phone, something, just to start to compose. So I think the older song, back where we started, it's the title, it's, I worked on it during the lockdown, the last lockdown we had for the COVID. So I, I I then realized that I had seven, eight songs each with a different drummer because as a composer, uh, I don't compose with a bass. I'm more I'm sometimes the bass guitar, the bass track is the last one. I don't want to make the bass the center of the arrangement, just flashy stuff or stuff like that. I like to compose with keyboards or guitar, also bass, but it's not the focus. Uh, Actually, I discovered that I like more to have the drums as the main instrument, the instruments that shines more. So I discovered that I was going through the folders in my computer, and I said, okay, we have one, two, three, four, five, eight songs. Wow, every song have a different drummer because I love to listen to my music played with different drummers.
So
No,
that was
not
on
not this.
purpose.
Yeah. So I say maybe we can do an album. Maybe I can do an album with just focusing on the different drummers. That's why Groove First is the title of a song that it isn't in the album, but it's a song of mine. But I say that's a nice album, and Little Starlight Records, the label company, agreed with me. So I think it's. I don't know. You must tell me. Is it an album about drummers, or is it? I mean, it's there's a lot of drumming, or not.
Well, I don't think I don't think there's too much of the drums.
Great. That
It's
thanks.
a variety, but it doesn't lose any of the cohesiveness. It doesn't sound like this and then this and then this and this. It sounds like
Great,
a nice album that flows. I think you did a
great,
good job.
great. Because it's music is always my main focus. But drummers. I think I did. the right choice of drummers because they are all very musical. There's no, flashy stuff, and that's it. So, but the music make them groove. So I think that every drummer that is in the album replied to the album saying, "Lorenzo, you did great. Thanks a lot. You you made my contribution shine." And so it's
Oh, nice.
that's nice. So that's, now I'm on. The album is out, I think, 3 weeks, something like that. But I'm already working on a new album.
For you.
And it's a big band album. I want to play with a jazz big band, like 10, a very big horn section and stuff like that. New arrangements of some of my songs. And the difficult thing now is to decide which drummer will play on it.
Well, when you were writing the music for this album, for Groove
Mm.
First, did you have a drummer in mind while you were writing it, or did you think once the song was already coming together, oh, this person, this drummer would be perfect
Mm.
for this song, or this drummer, or how did that
Mm.
all come together?
Both. Let's say that uh, maybe I start with a riff or with a keyboard part, and then I said, I sort of imagine a drum playing that stuff, and I say, oh, that could be perfect for Daniele Chiantese. I imagine one of the drummer I'm in contact with and I play with frequently. But sometimes that like for Gianluca Pellerito, Matteo Mancuso, the young Italian guitar player, is doing very well now. Gianluca Pellerito is the drummer of Matteo Mancuso, and he has a very um, like sort of Chris Dave or Mark Giuliana's modern approach to drumming. So we are very close friends, and I say I want to have Gianluca on the album because he's so great and he's a great friend, a great drummer. So in that case, I started to compose thinking of him. But other times, like for Pat Mastelotto, for Daniele Chiantese, I started the music, and then not just when the song was, just a cell. I sent the music to them and asked them to contribute with a sort of a groove that made me compose all the song.
Did any of the grooves that came back surprise you? Think, oh, I had
Yeah.
something else in mind, but I like this, or I had something else in mind, and I'm not sure I like this.
Mm, of course, I was surprised. I think by every drummer involved. But Miles Davis used to say that a great leader is someone that has clear in his mind what he doesn't want. All the rest is okay. So I think that also the way the music is composed, you can have five different approaches. Three are wrong. One is good, one is the perfect one. And when you send your music to a great musician you admire, usually is the perfect one, the choice he will do. So it's I was surprised, but um, not that the music was sounding good, but that they are I can say it, like magic touch was something really magic, and
Nice
that's
way of
that's
putting
that's the great thing about being a composer.
it. Yeah. What about you as a drummer? You've got to be able to play. You've got to be able to lay down a basic beat. You have this passion, I would say, for
Mhm.
drums and you appreciate drummers. You worked in a drum shop. You're talking most of our this conversation is about drums and drummers. Do you have a drum set or do you know how to?
No, no. I had one when we were living. Now we were living downtown Rome, really downtown. So it's not a small apartment, but there's no enough space. I had one when we were living in the countryside of Rome, and my daughter, now she's 23. She was younger. She was playing. She has a good groove, but I never played drums. I just a little bit when I'm at school just to kill time, but I'm good in programming drums, but not to play. But I have I guess that. Sometimes I discovered myself while listening to music that my focus is on the drums, not on the bass.
That's got. I'd like to get better at drum programming. I've done a lot of it, but I noticed that most of it sounds the same as the other drum programming that I've done. So I,
Yeah.
on the other hand, I try to keep it simple because for my purposes, it's for instructional stuff. But so I don't want to get too creative because I don't want to take the focus off the bass. But still, I
Mhm.
wouldn't mind being a better drum programmer.
Mhm. Yeah, there's of course technology. It's very helpful now because you
Yes,
have
it is.
the some pre-programmed stuff
Yeah.
that you can change a
Yes.
little bit, and also actually I bought some of these. I guess it's called loop loft. It's you get some real drums like Omar Hakim or stuff like that playing like 4 bars, and then you can, which is a uh, for me it's all everything is better than a metronome to compose, but having a real drummer like also if it's even if it's a 4 bars loop, it's great. So some now instead of programming I'm using this real drums loop that I bought so I can use them. I don't use them of course on the final version of the song, but it's very helpful for me to have to be able to hear the sound of a real drum, you know together with my music and compose on that.
What
You should
about
you should you should try them because also for some instructional or teaching stuff it's more yeah it's more alive. Let's say.
I use Logic, so
Yeah,
there's some good stuff there. But you bring up another question. What about some of the drummers from a long time ago? I'm thinking of when you said your father listened to jazz. I'm thinking, what is jazz? What do people mean anymore when they say jazz? But what about for you, Gene Krupa, Buddy Rich, Philly Joe Jones, Elvin Jones? Were you into that kind of stuff? The Billy Higgins?
yeah, because my father was in that maybe it was a generational thing, but it was in the jazz from the 50s and the 60s. So I remember that me
Art
and my
Blake,
brother, excuse me.
Art Blakey is another
Yeah,
one.
yeah, but yeah, of course, Buddy Rich is one of my heroes because it's so flashy. So but with the big band, Buddy's big band is such a joy to hear. I
I
never
saw
what?
him. I
Oh
saw him
wow,
live twice.
wow,
Yeah.
was it good?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and so it's we started to give our father as a present more modern stuff. I remember Electric Miles Davis stuff like that, the Jack Johnson, but it
Mm.
wasn't. It was presents. There were presents for him, but for us, just
I
so
hear
it
you.
was. But I love. For me, Louis Armstrong is the best from Louis Armstrong, uh, I I go to Miles Davis. I mean, in the middle, there's a lot of, but if you ask my my preferred ones, Louis Armstrong, there's already everything in his music, in his playing, in his the phrasing, the sound. Also, if you want the happiness in his playing, the joy, which is something that not all the jazz musicians had. And because sometimes it's tragic lives, not just no. But I love Satchmo and Buddy Rich, Miles Davis, more than the cool era of Miles Davis. I prefer the very first stuff he did, and then I switched to the electric. But I was listening to Sidney Bechet,
Oh yeah.
which is but he has a sound on the clarinet. It was beautiful. So there's so much good music to hear. So
Absolutely.
sometimes I force myself to don't be stuck in that just fusion or electric jazz. I just go back to the roots or something. Also classical music, folk music. There's so much stuff to you must be able to relax and enjoy stuff. Also, if it's something very different from what you do as a as a professional musician.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, like the acoustic. I don't want to say old, but traditional jazz is part of my, it's in my portfolio, and I
Yeah.
keep it. It's also because it's something that um, takes me back to my childhood, listening stuff. So I guess that's also sentimental side of
Sure.
it. But it's it's like listening to uh, sometimes I was watching yesterday on YouTube David Sanborn a tribute concert with Will Lee, Marcus Miller, and
Yeah.
there was Bob James did an intro with just acoustic piano, and I thought, oh, this reminds me of something from Oscar Peter. So I don't know, maybe the connection was strange, but as soon as the video of the concert ended, I just go to I took a vinyl of Oscar Peterson with Niels Ørsted Pedersen, and and I say that's yeah maybe it's that the Bob James on acoustic piano was nothing in common, but just ring let me. Let ring a bell in my brain, and I say maybe I have to go back to something,
Yeah.
old, but because music is there's so much music, which is
Yeah.
something I try to always keep my ears open and ready to also to go back to something that I already know. What's your
I
favorite? What's your favorite what is your first choice when you have to listen to something?
You know what I listen to more than anything else? Classic rock.
I mean, it's good.
I love I love Led Zeppelin and Aerosmith and Emerson, Lake and Palmer and
Wow, wow.
Hello and the Beatles, the Stones. I have Sirius in my car, so I listen to the 70s channel. I listen to the Beatles channel, classic vinyl, and the Bridge. I like the soft rock. I like Seals and Crofts and the Eagles and uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's very good stuff. Do you know Gentle Giant?
I know the names. That was an 80s band, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a prog band, but
Yeah.
very playing. Everyone was playing like four, five different instruments.
Oh,
It's not classic rock, but as I told you, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, also
yeah. I
Uriah
love those.
Uriah Heep, Uriah Heep.
Uriah Heep, yep, yep.
Yeah,
But I love John Coltrane. I love Miles
wow.
Davis. I love Miles Davis has the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s,
He did, he
so
did, he did everything. Yeah,
yeah, Chick Corea, love Chick Corea, the Electric Band, Patitucci, and,
yeah, yeah.
so and I played a lot of classical music too. So I loved Tchaikovsky Symphony Number 4 or Berlioz Symphony Fantastique. I played
Wow,
those.
wow,
Yeah, I played in the orchestra, the symphony band, and the jazz band through college, and then in graduate school, and we had small groups, and then this was University of Miami. Then they had a Monk Mingus ensemble, and then I think
wow,
after I left, they had a Horace Silver uh, uh,
wow.
small group ensemble, and then now they have something called the 1959 ensemble. And I was asking somebody, I said, "Well, 1959, okay, this Giant Steps, kind of blue, Mingus, what was it, or something
It's
like
it's like 79 for 1979 for rock. It's a
that."
good year.
Dave Brubeck, Time
Yeah,
Out, that came out in 59. I love his music.
yeah,
I do not care for his piano playing, but I love him as
yeah. Great stuff. Yeah, good.
yeah, we have a lot in common,
Yeah.
Lorenzo. So, what else is keeping you busy these days?
So I did an album a year ago with called Kamayan. It's a word from I guess Philippine means sharing food using hands. So sort of like a community having food together. Kamayan, it's a trio with Daniele Chiantese on drums, an Italian drummer, which is on the album, group first, the album. He plays on one song. And uh, beautiful piano player from Croatia called Christian Terzic. Um, we never met. It's a long distance stuff. We never met. I mean, but we compose stuff together. It's a beautiful album. Now it will be out, I guess, in a couple of months. But we have also instructional book. It's like a play along of 5 tunes with charts and transcribed parts for bass,
Oh,
keyboards, piano, and drums. It will be out, I guess, in October, November, and together with the album. So I'm controlling all the transcriptions, which is
yeah.
when you play a lot of notes, then you say, now I have to control everything.
I know, I know.
Yeah. Maybe a simpler part was better, but and then I have a new project which I can say, but it's a very good in the prog alternative jazz stuff. I don't want I don't know the word in English, but when don't say, because you don't want the that the talking about something that still is not real will will
The
um,
evil eye
yeah, esatto, exactly.
jinxed it.
Exactly. And
Okay.
so I have gigs. Umbria Jazz is a famous jazz festival in the center of Italy, in Umbria, Perugia, and it's there's a lot of uh, international stars. But I will be special guest with this band. I will play there. It's the second half of July. Then I have some. Festivals in the north of Italy and first 10 days of August. Then I guess that you will spend some time with family, which is which is sometimes, and that's it. And then in September I will go back teaching. In October, I go to Korea to visit the court. Court. I'm a court
Oh yeah.
endorser. Is one
Yeah.
of the companies I
Mhm.
collaborate with, and after visiting and pay my pay a visit to their headquarters, I will stay there for 10 days with my wife. So it's a sort of an holiday that's part job and part holidays,
Yeah.
and that's it. And then November, I I I love to keep myself busy, and
Yeah. Sounds like it.
I'm lucky enough to have a lot of people that think of me as a bass player. So it's always something that surprised me, but in a good way, to be in demand, sort of.
I want to get your take on something as
Yeah,
put your music educator hat on for a minute. For
yeah,
BassPlayersOnly.com, where we are right now, is a bass instruction site.
I know.
And I've
Yeah,
got people from all over the world coming to thousands of people in the ForBassPlayersOnly.com community. Most of them are men, mostly men, but men and some women in their 50s, 60s, 70s. I've got students in their 80s, and
wow.
they're not looking to become professional musicians. They have a little time now. They love the classic rock and blues from the
Hmm.
60s and 70s, or they want to play some classic rock riffs with their friends, or some blues shuffles, or maybe some funk, R&B, some jazz, walking bass, whatever it is, just for the enjoyment of it. And a lot of times when we get into our 60s, 70s, 80s, things like arthritis and tendonitis and shoulder pain, things like that. So I'm telling you all that just to give you a context of some of the people that, the type of people that come to for bass players only. So I want to ask you what kind of advice you can share with those people who want to learn to play bass. What do you think they should be thinking about? What kind of goals do you think they should have? What should be their focus since they're not career bound and not trying to?
Okay, okay. Just think about the music and the song first. Never focus only on the bass part, because the bass part is the foundation of the music. So we have to never uh, forget that we 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 serve sort of, and that also I'm sure that that's the same thing that you the same advice you give to your lessons to your students. So it's sometimes but when I have also students, both private students that or at the school that are in their 50 60, like the ones that you described perfectly before, and they have a sort of a I call the sacred fire inside for music. They love the music. Sometimes we as a professional players, we think of we have to think of so many aspects, not just the joy of playing. We have to think about being prepared, about getting in time, about making all the our agenda work. But just think about the music, just enjoy the music and see your instrument as part of a bigger um, scenario, not just which is I mean, study what you have to play deeply, concentrate on what you have to play, but as back to Jaco, uh, don't concentrate too much. Sorry, don't think too much, just concentrate, which is mean concentration is doesn't mean you have to take away the joy of playing, just be into, but be into the music, not just into the bass. But it's the same for drummers or whatever, especially if you're playing music that is a it's band music, a song. You have to never forget that you are just being a part of it. Never try to be the leader, especially for bass players. I guess I don't know. Maybe it's something that nothing special as advice, but uh, I'm sure that on your for bass players only your website there's a lot of information about what to play. Instead of so they already have ready for them a lot of informations about what to play and how to play. But the only advice I can give is just to focus on the song, on the music, because if they study, if they have the desire to play, the bass is already a big step in someone life. It's music is great. Playing with other people, it's great. So also maybe another advice is just to be in a band, find other friends that as the same share the same love for music and play. Don't just be in your bedroom playing, because you sometimes that's enough for practicing, but music is something else. And also on the net, if you go to YouTube, there's a lot of phenomenally technically players, but where's the music? So then never
Exactly.
never forget the music. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. See these people do some very, very impressive feats on the bass,
Unbelievable, impossible for me, I must admit.
but
I
that's
don't know.
not what people want in a bass player. If you want to be a YouTuber, go for it. But, I
You
think
know,
we're on the same page
yeah,
there.
as I say to my students, I never earn money slapping. No, no, nobody, nobody asks for slaps. Slave bass, bass is good if you play, level 42 or something. But there's already marking, so the world doesn't need another marking. There's already one, and it's the king or marking the king. So it's sometimes you focus a lot on techniques, but you forget that there's also songs that are not in E major, so the slap is
That's right.
it's complicated
That's
in F
right.
sharp.
I like everything you said. I do want to comment on one thing though, because you say play with other people, play in a band, and that's great, and most people want to do that. But I was surprised to learn that there are a lot of people that are totally content just sitting at home in their living room or in their bedroom and just practicing and doing it just by themselves. And if they get joy and satisfaction and fulfillment out of that, then go ahead. But I
Yeah, yeah,
wanted to
that's
mention
a,
that because it just surprised me at first.
Yeah, that's okay, of course, because that's one of the way to enjoy music, and but you never know the joy of playing with other people,
Right.
seen until you have to try. Sometimes it's also being a little bit insecure about your if you are good enough to play with other people, but find people of your level. It's always better to play with someone better, but
That,
but yes, find someone that is your level. Is it's always such a joy when maybe after three rehearsals, four rehearsals, you have a song that it's okay. It's something that it's and share this emotion and this joy with someone else. It's the one of the good things about life and music.
yeah. Great advice. Thank you. I want to ask you briefly about your equipment.
Yeah.
You mentioned court, you mentioned trickfish. What are you playing right now? What are your main one or two basses that you go to?
Okay. So trickfish amplifiers and DI and stuff like that. I use EQS Italian made strings,
Hmm.
and I have a chord basis. This is the GB Modern 5 strings with
Beautiful.
Nordstrand pickups
Ah,
and Babix
yeah.
bridge.
Uh-huh.
It's an incredibly good. I also have here. I was playing while waiting for the connection. This is another chord. Is the I don't remember A5 single cut. Then I have sorry.
I think that's what Jeff Berlin plays, the court bass.
Yes, he has a signature bass. Yes, that's a very good one. This is a Camarota, an Italian luthier. It's my signature called Silver Koi with Mama pickups. It's a 33 inches scale, a little bit more, comfortable. And then I just showing you the main ones.
Yeah.
And this is a Marushik. It's a Polish bass.
Ah,
It's a frog. This is 34 regular long scale 34
yeah.
with I think it's bass culture pickups. It's very good. This is sort of a couple of months old. It's a reason.
Beautiful.
And of course, I have 72 jazz bass, the one like Geddy Lee, with
Yeah.
the black inlays and badass bridge. It's a origin from 72. It's a gift from my wife, and it sounds like a piano. It's like a piano.
Wow.
These
Maybe
are
you have a
the
nice wife.
yeah, yeah. She's a she it's she loves to have an husband that plays the bass, so I guess that's
Yeah.
and yeah, that's more or less the main ones, but
Good.
it's when it's four strings, it's mostly the Fender, of course.
Yeah.
It doesn't come with me on the road, or I don't take flights with it. It stays at home, but it's when it's you have to record them. eh, the bass, the Fender Jazz, the 72, I plug it into the directly into Pro Tools, in the audio interface, and the sound is already beautiful, beautiful. But otherwise I use the Avalon, the U5, the pre DI, Avalon, and the Trickfish Mino preamp is a DI preamp, which is very good. But that's it. It's I have many other bases, but these are the 4 or 5 that I use the most.
Yeah. I have one more question for you, Lorenzo. If you could imagine, what would you be if you were not a bass player?
Oh,
Something outside of music.
yeah, 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 of course. I was studying architecture, so I guess that being some sort of something related to art. So I was maybe not an architect, but I still love to go to museums and exhibitions, stuff like that. So I guess that could be great, but I don't know if it it's a good way to make money. It's enough money. But that's, I guess, I'm a big movie fan. I watch a lot of movies, also black and white stuff from the past. So maybe also something. My daughter, she's already directing short movies and writing screenplays. So maybe she's doing what I do if I was not a bass player. Something related to art, I guess. I don't,
Well, you're very creative, obviously.
but yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
Yes. Well, the album is called Groove First, and the correct pronunciation is Lorenzo Feliciati.
Perfect.
Feliciati. Okay.
Perfect.
Very good.
Perfetto.
Oh, I could speak a little Italian. Here's my favorite word. Sangiovese.
Ah.
My wife and I were in Italy a few years ago, and
Oh, great, great.
that's
You
what
enjoy? You love
very
it?
much, very much. Yes. I interviewed Alberto Ragoni
Oh, okay. I know
in
him. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're at Venice, I think.
I think it's in the northeast. Yeah.
Yeah, we were in Venice, then Florence and Rome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm from Rome. But we lived in Paris for 4 years, then Brussels for 3 years, and then Milan for 2 years, and then now we are finally back home,
Yeah.
back home.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time. This was great information, very inspiring, very uplifting, and very enjoyable. So thank you for being on for Bass Players Only. Much appreciated. And I hope our paths will cross again soon and often.
Let's do it. Thank you so much.
Thank
It's
you
been a
very much.
pleasure and an honor. Thank you, John.
Thank you. And it's a pleasure and an honor for me as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
What an enjoyable interview. Such a pleasure talking with him. He's got such a friendly vibe about him, and I love his energy. Check out the album too, Groove First. You will love it. If you've ever wanted to learn bass, you should know that right now there are thousands of people inside the For Bass Players Only community, men and women, mostly in their 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s. And you know what they're doing? They're learning bass. They're having the time of their life playing music that they love. Come join them and experience that unbelievable transformation for yourself. As I always say, you're never too old to groove. I'll be right back here next week, same time, same place, with another bass player interview right here on ForBassPlayersOnly.com. In the meantime, I'm John Leapman. Let's play bass.